But just transitioning now to Davion Mitchell, um, it's such a different situation for him, not only in the fact that he's going from year one to year two, which is such a difference, but there's no Halliburton. He's number two in the point guard situation. And like we were just saying, when he either was opened up, he started playing better when his role was clear, and his role was more like, prominent. When he was able to take over the starting role as the point guard after De'Aaron Fox hurt his hand, he played so well. And it was great because it was at the end of the year. He was able to build confidence and kind of figure out how the league works and whatnot. And it seems like he's put himself in a position already to build consistency in year two, which was a problem in year one, as it is for a lot of players. But, he also has the external factor of the role and how much Mike Brown's going to favor him because of his defense. I think he's going to be able to play a lot, and I think that benefits him. And I think he usually thrives when the role kind of expands, at least recently,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, he was up with like the top rookies in the rookie class last year when he was starting. Um, his role this year will be interesting. He's back on the bench, and I mean, he was always that backup point guard because Halliburton and Fox were starting together. But I think he's a workhorse. He's been working hard this offseason. He has. And it was very promising to see the end of his season too. His shot started falling a little more, like you're saying, and um, it's weird it's always hard to, I don't know. He's like a backup point guard. I don't know what my expectations for him are going into next season, just because it's like, well, what do you expect from a backup point guard? But I think I think the X factor, and we all know, is his defense, and that's what's really that's how he's gonna make his name in this league. I think he's gonna be solid. He's a good distributor, facilitator, and hopefully he can hit his 3-point shots a little more consistently this year at a higher clip. But it's that defense, and that defense is gonna earn him those closing minutes, and like I said, make his name in this league because of it. So I think I've said this before. Like Davion Mitchell, I think his goal should be to make one of the all NBA defensive teams this year because he has that potential in him. He's going to have more minutes in him this year. I mean, he can do it, so might as well go for it.
Yeah, I think that's definitely fair to point out, and I think it's also important not just to say that he's arguably probably the best defender on the team, but he's making it a point of emphasis to be a vocal leader on defense. And I think he noted the fact that like when Sabonis got there, it's like Sabonis is a communicator on the court on both ends. And that made such a difference on defense. And for a guy that's not super physically talented on the defensive end in terms of Sabonis, not really a rim protector, not super quick laterally, but he plays smart and he's a communicator and he can help make guys better with his court awareness. And you add that element with Davion Mitchell, and it's just like, I mean, all the things that can branch off of that, both what he can do and the guys can do around him, and in terms of like facilitating a Mike Brown defense, that is going to be huge. And I think that could definitely put him in a position, to do exactly what you're saying. And I think that's definitely the goal for him. And with the work ethic he's got, and he could definitely do that. I mean, I don't really expect any transition period with the defense. The offense is more of a question mark. We'll have to see what he does in camp. The big question is kind of like, what is he going to be able to do? Is he going to be able to hit threes consistently? How's his form doing? I know he was like altering things throughout the year. Again, he's a rookie, but can he find that efficiency and from scoring all over the floor? And I guess we'll have to see on that. But that defense is going to make a huge factor, make a huge difference. And like you're saying, he's playing himself into a lot of those closing lineups, especially if the Kings have a lead or mostly in the lead. Defense is just as important as late game shots. A late game stop you have to have a late game stop in combination with a late game bucket. Those things have to go hand in hand. So I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah, Mitchell. I mean, hopefully he can. I guess it sounds like be a good two-way player. Really, I mean, he has the defense in him. He's not going to be so much of a 3-and-D guy because as a backup point guard, you have to do more than just 3-and-D. But even if he can just be a good facilitator and then play alongside Fox. And I think I've said this in the past on podcasts. Like him and Fox can play together, and you just throw Davion on the better opponent on defense, so you can save Fox's energy for offense, and then and you just throw Davion in a corner or at top on the wing, and if he can hit those looks, it's just it's going to make the world a difference. And that's what the Kings did this year. They went out and got shooters and Monk and Herter, and Davis is still on the team, and he's proven that he can be a good 3-point shooter. And Davion Mitchell, he has some competition. If that three's not falling, I mean, yeah, he's still going to get those backup point guard minutes, but I don't know. It goes both ways, like you said. Like, yeah, you need shots to stop, but you also need them. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Sorry, I had my window open. I had my window open, and I think a little kid just rode by on a bike. But, but like I was saying, and what you were saying was that you need at the end of games, you need stops, but you also need to hit shots, and it's going to be an interesting, predicament for Brown if Davion Mitchell isn't hitting those shots. It's just going to be a lot better if Mitchell can shoot.
Definitely.
And he's shown he can, and let's hope he can continue.
Yeah, consistency is key. But I think what you're talking about with that, ability to guard the better offensive threat alongside Fox and give Fox essentially more of a break on defense. We talk a lot about who's going to start the two. I still think Herter's like the guy, and he could very well start all 82. Everything could work out great. But I mean, like you might see maybe a guy's coming in real hot, and Mike Brown knows. I don't know. I don't want to like come up with some crazy hypothetical that's never going to happen. But like, it won't be crazy. Injuries, matchups, different factors play into things. It wouldn't be crazy to see Davion Mitchell start a few games along Fox. Is that crazy? For that very reason that you're talking about, to be able to slow down and stunt a guy from the beginning, you don't want to have to bring him in off the bench and try to slow him down at halftime after he's already dropped 30 on you or whatever in the first half. I don't know. Didn't Brandon Ingram drop like close to that? I don't know. I'm thinking of the game last year. But yeah, it's just like you need, specifically for that guard position, if Mitchell can do that, I mean, that can make a huge difference. And with such a defensive-oriented coach, that's going to happen probably.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be opposed to, like platooning guys, kind of like in baseball, left field, right field, second base. It's like, we need this guy's going to play second today for the matchup, lefty versus righty. But, I mean, the Kings are guard heavy, and the most of their talent is at those guard positions. And I mean, I think Herter is, and we've said this already, he's going to probably be the starting shooting guard. But I mean, yeah, what if Herter goes cold, or his defense isn't as good as we thought, or Monk's just on fire, or you need a stop, and Mitchell's, continuing to play his good D. I don't know. I think we're going to see a lot of changes at the shooting guard throughout the year. I think it will mostly be Herter, but I don't think he starts all 82 games at the shooting guard position. And I think some of those minutes starts might go to Mitchell.
Mm-hmm. And I think a few guys have already referred to the fact that it's like the lineup and the rotation is still very much up in the air. I think, whether it's that guard position or whether it's even the power forward position, like it's not a lock that Keegan Murray starts necessarily. I think like Herter, I think it's a pretty good chance that you're going to see that, the Fox, Herter, Barnes, Murray, and Sabonis lineup. That's definitely the favored one, but it could really be anything. and what the rotation, the closing lineups. I mean, those are all supplementary questions that are very fascinating. And, you know, again, it's just like talking about competition being a theme here. And, you know, you've got to love a second year player like Davion Mitchell adding things in the mix.